I'm here with a special guest today, a good friend of mine, the owner of Earned Performance Center. How you doing? My name.
Good, mate.
I'm about to say my name is Kai.
My name's Mike Rashid.
And I'm Kai.
This is Kai.
Kai Daly. I'm from Australia, mate. So check it out. So Kai is a good friend of mine. He's a really well-known dude in the industry. He knows his stuff. Got a lot of respect for him. He has a device here that he actually used on me to help me out because I've been having some shoulder issues, and it's also the same identical machine that Mike Tyson is using for a lot of his strength training, I guess.
Yeah.
Preparing for his fight coming up against Roy Jones Jr. So Kai, I want you to explain what this machine is, what it does, and then I'll be a guinea pig.
Yeah, awesome.
I want to train like Mike.
Well, I mean, a lot of people really do. So the huge benefit to this machine is the fact that it really taps into the mind to muscle connection. And that's a really important thing for a lot of people when it comes to training, because at the end of the day, if you're not tapping into that mind to muscle connection, you're typically relying on a lot of joint, you're typically relying on a lot of the body's full response. And if you don't have that mind to muscle connection, you're never going to get the most out of the muscle. So what the machine does is it not only works with an intensity percentage, but it also works with a complete and utter mind muscle connection. So you're really triggering that nervous pathway that's going from the brain straight into the muscle that you're trying to use. And at least that way we know that you're getting a full functionality from that muscle tissue. A lot of people struggle really hard in getting a good connection with muscle. So this machine literally helps any person to adapt 100% capacity in creating a good connection with that muscle tissue. So
okay, that sounds all good and all, but layman's terms, please.
Layman terms is really simple. We're just going to get nasty pumps, and it's just going to trigger it and make it happen. So at the end of the day, you don't really need to think too much. You're just going to work through some motion, feel the muscle work, and get that instant connection. And you guys will see that today with Mike, because he's obviously an athlete, so he does have good muscle tissue density, and you'll be able to see that muscle firing straight from the get-go.
So why do you think Mike Tyson will go to a guy we know, Brad, to get this kind of training or technology?
Well, I think for someone like Mike, who is a little bit older now, and he's been around for a really long time, the best thing about this machine is it creates a lot more longevity, because it does stretch the muscle, but it also contracts the muscle too. So without having to use too much weight and tension against the actual joints and against the bone, you're not going to suffer too badly from an injury.
Right.
When normally if you are lifting weights, we know how easily that can happen.
And it doesn't compromise any integrity of the joints, right?
Absolutely not. So if anything, it actually helps the joints, because it's constantly stretching and elongating the muscle, as well as getting that that really nasty contraction.
I gotta tell you, man, he put me through session Sunday, right?
Yeah, Sunday, yep.
And listen, I haven't been doing upper body training, just because my shoulder's been hurting. But it seemed like I filled out, like I've been training every day.
Yep.
Right? And that day, I was able to train shoulders, which I hadn't been able to do in some time. And I just been feeling like big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So
like as if that was, all he had me do was push-ups and just some movements. But it felt like with the percentage, I guess, you had on me, it made it so intense, just some regular basic stuff, that it was as if I had just more of a workout than what I actually did.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And the reason is because we're literally tapping into 100% of that muscle tissue's capacity to be able to work and function, because every fiber in that muscle is literally firing all at once at its highest peak. So you would never ever get that lifting weights.
So what do you think, typically, just the average dude that's in good shape, what do you think their muscles are firing at?
Typically, like at a highest percentage, I would say 60 to 70% at best. And I'll use like a professional bodybuilder, for example, someone who has an extremely good mind to muscle connection. We know is Kai Green, or Phil Heath, for even that matter. These guys are genetic specimens, and the reason why their genetics are so much stronger is because they have the capacity to be able to tap into that muscle and really utilize it to the best of its ability.
So them being that high caliber athlete, genetic specimen, etc., they're only getting about 60, 70%.
Yep.
Interesting.
So you could even like.
So
tap
why
it into them.
are we not seeing more people use this?
Because
or are they kind of?
I'll be really honest with you. Like it's expensive, but it's also medical equipment. So a lot of the use it's being put forward to is because they're actually using it in the medical space to help treat people who have got muscle atrophy, people who have had accidents who can no longer use certain things. If, say, for instance, you broke your leg, right? Or recently you had the bicep tendon. Okay, so that needs to be rehabilitated. If you
Correct.
don't use it, you're gonna lose it.
Right.
Okay, that age-old saying, use it or lose it.
Right.
If your legs begin to atrophy, then the machine can actually bring them back to life because it's creating that constant tension onto the muscle, and it
Right.
just instantly makes the brain reconnect.
Okay, cool.
So that's what it's mostly used for in the state of rehabilitation. But now they're starting to cross it over with new frequencies into training and making some huge headway in the training industry.
Okay, question. Will this make you strong though?
It would not make you stronger.
Okay.
It will definitely.
You need that real resistance.
It will definitely make you weaker if you just relied solely on the machine.
You look good though.
Exactly. So you're going to look good. It's going to make the muscle tissue
You
stretch
look
out.
great, but you'll be a weenie.
Exactly. So it's pretty much like me versus him.
This is nuts. Okay, well, I'm at your disposal, coach.
All right.
Let's see what we got.
Let's get into it.
Cool.
Easy. All right. So we're going to do a little bit more shoulder work today.
Okay.
We'll also put it on your chest too, because I feel like that's where we're going to get the best sort of response so that people can actually see it.
Does that open me up?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm also going to put some on your back. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll work 2 on the back, 2 on the chest, and 2 on the shoulders.
Can I put this on my abs and just chill and get abs? Does that work?
You can. I've tried it, believe it or not, and it
I do
didn't
believe
end
it.
too well.
I would
for
do
me.
it. I would have it on my whole body at home chilling, watching Netflix.
All right. So do you want to do shirts on or shirts off?
Whatever.
Let's go shirts off. I think that's going to be the best so that people can actually see how.
We can just video Photoshop my stomach to have abs. You know, do it.
Okay.
All right. So what are we doing now?
So what we're doing is we're actually getting the electrodes onto the skin. So it is a direct electrolysis electrode to the muscle, which is really important because that's actually where the current actually goes through. And we have a positive and a negative, just like anything to do with electricity. So it's always important to make sure that they're in the right spot so that they can trigger the muscle appropriately. And because a lot of Mike's issue actually comes from the chest and shoulder joint, which we identified last week or on Sunday, we know exactly where to put the pads. But for every single person, it works differently on how you actually want to position the pads.
Do you have a lot of people that you use this technique on?
So there's a lot of people that actually use this mostly for rehab.
Okay.
So people who have some challenges with, movement through the body and actually getting a good response with certain muscle tissues. I have a lot of girls that come to me to use this for their glutes specifically.
You love that part. You started a whole new business.
It's not
glute fixing.
It's not a bad job. But it helps girls to identify.
It works really good.
Yeah, it helps girls to identify exactly where.
You got some before and afters?
Definitely have some good before and afters. Mine's actually probably the most impressive out of all of them, believe it or
We're not
not.
interested in yours.
But that's exactly what people want to see, bro. So the biggest thing is when the science actually gets better for these machines,
Be more mobile,
all this stuff will get better.
like more comfortable.
With time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a bit of a shock, and you guys can see what it will actually look like. And I'll specifically turn on the front section here in Mike so that you can see where most of this muscle is actually going to work.
Yo, I gotta cut this short because I want y'all to go over to the Fight Camp channel to watch the whole video. It's lit. We go into so much stuff, and I want y'all to be a part of it, all right? I want you to subscribe to the channel as well, and let's watch the full video over there, all right? Peace.